Welcome to the ADCLOD Podcast series with Social Impact Founders, an initiative by the Ashank Desai Centre for Leadership and Organisational Development at IIM Ahmedabad, where we document and celebrate the leadership journeys of India's homegrown social entrepreneurs who have built impactful institutions from the ground up. In today's episode, we have the privilege of speaking with Rajendra Joshi, founder and managing trustee of Saath Charitable Trust, Ahmedabad, an Ashoka Fellow and a Schwab Fellow of the World Economic Forum. Rajendra is one of India's pioneering urban development practitioners. Born and raised in Tanzania, Rajendra came to India at 19, was struck by the deep inequities he witnessed in Ahmedabad slums, and in 1989, inspired by his mentor, the Spanish priest Father Ramiro Arviti, and shaped by the humanist visions of Julius Nyerere and Nelson Mandela, co-founded Saath with two colleagues and barely any funds. Over more than 3 decades, Saath, the Hindi word for together, has grown into one of India's most respected urban development organizations, working across Gujarat, Rajasthan, Maharashtra, Uttar Pradesh and Bihar, and touching more than 1.5 million lives. Through landmark initiatives such as the Integrated Slum Development Program, the Slum Networking Program, Umeed Livelihood Skilling, Nirman for construction workers, Griha Pravesh for affordable housing, and R-Weaves for artisan communities, Saath has pioneered a distinctive market-based model of inclusive development, one that brings slum residents, municipal corporations, corporates, and civil society in genuine three-way partnerships. Saath has received the India NGO Award, the Hudko Award, the GuideStar Platinum Transparency Award, and has partnered with organizations ranging from UNICEF, USAID, and IIM Ahmedabad to Urban Mills and Ahmedabad Municipal Corporation. Rajendra has also authored the book Smart Cities, Breaking the Poverty Barrier, drawing on over 30 years of grounded experience. It is our pleasure to have Mr. Rajendra Joshi with us today for the podcast, and it's an honor to speak to you, Rajendra. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for your kind words, Neharika. I am also pleased that I'm part of this podcast and, will be able to tell how social impact organizations grow, how they are established, how they grow. So a pleasure, Neharika.
Looking forward to that, to learning from you. So let's start with where Saath is today, Rajendraji. We would love for you, the listeners, to get a picture of what Saath looks like today, its geographic footprint, the range of programs it runs, the nature of your team, the community partner network, and how the organization is funded. Just a broad understanding of the organization, please.
That's a big question. I'll try to answer it as succinctly as possible. Well, today Saath is, 37 years old. During this time, we have promoted other institutions, a Saath Savings and Credit Cooperative, another not-for-profit Saath Livelihoods, a for-profit called Saath Facilitators, and a multi-purpose cooperative. If you look at the total strength of these institutions, we are probably more than 350 people. We have worked in the geographies that you mentioned, over the last 37 years, and at present, we are working in Gujarat, we are working in Rajasthan, and a small program in Bihar, very small program in Bihar. In Gujarat, we work in, we have worked in Ahmedabad, Surat, Baroda, we have worked in Porbandar, we have worked in Nadiyad, Banaskantha. So almost, I would say, the whole of Gujarat, we have some time. In Rajasthan, when we started off about 15 years ago, we started off work in 6 districts adjoining Gujarat. This was vocational training, and today our work is mainly in Jaipur. So you can say that, we work in Gujarat, quite spread out. And in Rajasthan, we work in Jaipur. And yes, I think our coverage today also would be more than 30,000 households. We have again a host of probably 25 different programs to do with livelihood, health, education, financial inclusion, shelter. These are the areas that we have been working in.
Wonderful, wonderful. And you founded in 1989 with no funds, borrowing money from friends, beginning not with a program but with a volleyball game and a conversation with slum youth, and understanding what they wanted to change. What was it about the beginning, that participatory ground-up approach, that became foundational to everything that Saath has done since?
Well, I would say that, it is, I think, part of my DNA that I don't like to take, decisions alone. Some decisions one takes and one does it and bear the consequences. But right from the beginning, when I worked with Father RVT, over there I saw the approach of, inclusive decision making. And that I found worked over there. And then when we started Saath, it was sort of very clear that, the people whom we work with, to make it more, you can call it inclusive, you can call it democratic, you can call it grounds up. If one includes people whom you are working with, in finding out what should be done, they become part of the decision-making processes. And then you also during implementation and then in, monitoring. If there is involvement of people whom you are working with, then the ownership of the program again becomes inclusive. Everybody who is part of a program, they feel that they own this program. You are aware that when there is ownership, the approach is much more from the heart than it would be from the head.
Yes, definitely. Also, Saath from the very beginning started as a three-way partnership. Did it start as a three-way partnership, or is that something that evolved?
It is something that it evolved. To start with, it was Saath and the communities that we worked with. And then, even before starting Saath, we understood very clearly that if we wanted to work with vulnerable communities, the local government plays a very important role because they provide the infrastructure, toilet, water, drainage, etc. And it is the local government which provides that. So we were clear that we will work with the local government, with the municipal corporation. And then, while doing our first work with the youth in Berampura, the absolute need, very much needed, was sanitation in that area. There were 500 households and only 20. So then, we worked with the youth. We made friends with them. As I said, they became part of the ownership process. And then, they themselves said that this is the dire need in the area. And then while, going deeper, we realized that, yes, the Ahmedabad Municipal Corporation has a scheme where it gives an 80% subsidy for construction of toilets. Did all that. Right from that time, we have understood that the local government is also a stakeholder. The community is a stakeholder. Later on, we looked at tuberculosis and we realized that the tuberculosis department of municipal corporation is also a partner. So I would put it that way, that as we started going deeper into the communities, we started, looking at the broader needs. We realized that there already are existing institutions which provide those, those needs, which answer those needs. So they naturally would become our partners. For here, I would like to add that I think our partnerships have worked because, I put them as principles of partnership. So I would say that those principles of partnership is that, you respect your partner. You respect, rather than putting it broadly, you respect the people who are, for example, in the municipal corporation, there were engineers, doctors whom you work with. So one respects. Second thing is that one acknowledges that whatever is happening is a contribution of both parties.
Of course.
all these stakeholders included. Then
Right.
it also means sharing information, sharing insights, sharing the impact. When all this becomes part of the DNA, it could be my DNA, and then it becomes the DNA of Saath, then the partnerships are smoother
Right.
and long term.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful. So, in a way, in a nutshell, you've just said how partnerships have to be built. And this is not only true for the non-profit, I think that's true for across all sectors. That's how partnerships have to be built on
Yes.
equality, on trust, on transparency, on sharing, and on
Yes.
sharing of credit and sharing of the work in that sense. So great. Thank you so much. We would like to understand from you, based on the work that you have done in Ahmedabad for so many years, which has seen its own crisis in those years, including the Babri Masjid riots, the post-Godra violence, the Bhuj earthquake, and so on and so forth. What has it been like working in the slums during those times? And are there some methods of conflict resolution that you have developed in this time?
Yeah, when such conflicts happen, it is perceived, it is a myth actually, that everybody doesn't like everybody. So every Hindu does not, now that is a myth. These are engineered events.
Correct.
Yeah. Or maybe they happen, but it is blown out of proportion. We work with people living in slums, low-income communities. They are all informal sector. So I will be referring to them throughout this podcast.
Sure.
Now, these are people who are daily wage earners.
Yes.
They don't like conflicts because it impacts them directly.
Correct.
They have found that, we at Saath understand this. And also we understand that. The other thing is that a considerable part of Saath's team are people from these communities.
Okay.
So there would be Hindus, there would be Muslims, there are a few Christians also. So somehow the word spreads around that this is, Saath is an organization which is, not catering to one community only.
Right.
So if we talk about the Babri Masjid riots, we played a very small role, insignificant, but very much needed. I mean, insignificant in the larger scheme of things. Very significant when it came to these communities that, we said that the need is for food supplies. So we arranged for food supplies and we partnered with the community leaders to see that how it could be distributed. Second thing is, we worked with both communities because when it happens, maybe one community gets impacted more, but the other community does get impacted also. So we worked with both the communities. And through that, in fact, we found that, it laid... Now talking about hindsight, the work that we did in 2003 laid the foundation for the work that had to happen in 2022.
Right.
When the those riots happened.
Right.
So I would say basic thing is trust from the community, both sides. People who live in those communities, we interact a lot with them. They understand what I talked earlier about, principles of partnership, inclusion. Now coming to 2022 riots, what happened is people were affected, they were put in camps, and there was a lot of discomfort, to put it mildly, in those camps.
Yes.
So we visited the camps. Now again, when I say we, Neharika, by we I mean Hindu staff who were, Hindus, very few Muslim staff.
Sure.
We went to those camps. We realized that really the need was counseling children, counseling women, doing activities which keep them occupied rather than, just thinking about what had happened. So for that, we talked with the people who were in charge of the camp. In fact, we were part of a network which was providing support to these camps in terms of food, fuel, etc., etc. So then As Saath, we decided that we will address, the challenges for children, for women, for young people. So we went into those camps and we said we'll do these activities. And then the question is, who will do those activities? I mean, I am supposedly a Hindu. Now, because we were providing food supplies to those camps, the leadership in the camps realized that, we are doing something meaningful. When we talked about these needs, they also understood that, yes, these were needs that had to be addressed. The challenge came when, staff, Hindu women, young people started working in those camps. So people got agitated. The Muslim people who were in those camps got agitated. They said, look, first you destroy our homes and then you come and try to, make things better. That doesn't work. However, since we had a background of knowing those people, of having worked in the camps, they said that, okay, go ahead, but we'll keep a close watch on you. So, the women and youth started talking with each other and they realized that as women and youth, children, of course, don't get that understanding, that the challenges that they faced were similar. If the riots had not happened, then the challenges that they faced were similar. So that created a stronger bond.
Sure.
And acceptance. Yeah. Then the camps were disbanded. And, people started moving into where they lived before if they could. Johapura became a magnet. It had, even before the riots, I think after 2003 riots, it started becoming a purely Muslim area, if I may call it a ghetto. And, people from outside Ahmedabad who had fled, even within Ahmedabad, they started moving to Johapura. And, we said that we will do our integrated slum program in an area called Sanklit Nagar in Johapura. Johapura is too wide. Sanklit Nagar is the area where vulnerable people lived.
Right.
So over there, we would do activities related to health, education, livelihoods, vocational training. Now, people had to be trained for that.
Yes.
Here I'm using, words which I normally don't like to use, but I'll use them here, is that these were Muslim women and young people whose capacities had to be built up.
Correct.
And the people building up those capacities were Hindus.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So it would be, Hindu women going into Sanklit Nagar and doing the capacity building activities. Now, what we were already doing, our health center, vocational training centers were just across the road in an area called Gupta Nagar. So Gupta Nagar and Johapura are adjacent to each other. There is just a road in between.
Correct.
So, in order to get exposed to these activities, the Muslim women and youth were coming to an Hindu area in Gupta Nagar. There was a lot of questioning about this approach.
Right.
Especially to do with safety.
Right.
But we realized that no, we are looking at substantial things which people understand, and it's not just a short-term events.
Yes.
So those women would come to Gupta Nagar, Muslim women coming to Gupta Nagar. When they come over there, they see how the community lives and they realize we are in the same boat. Hindu women going to Muslim community, looking at how people live, we are sailing in the same boat.
Correct.
So that brought about a very deep understanding that, we are facing the same challenges and we should work towards resolving those challenges rather than get involved in something over which we have no control.
Correct.
And even Saath had no control really over the larger events. We had no control.
Of course.
We could just respond and react in a thoughtful way. And that became our, the way we sort of did peace building between the two communities. And then we replicated the same thing in other areas of Ahmedabad. It was Jamalpur, Daryapur. Unfortunately, Ahmedabad was starting to become an area only Muslims live, only Hindus live. So we started working in those areas. And after that, we started a savings and credit cooperative society, a different entity, but promoted by
Okay.
Saath. And in those, the members were from both the communities.
Sure.
They were getting, equal, whatever the savings and credit cooperative were doing, they were getting the same benefits.
Yes.
Of course, there were aid agencies involved. So we ensured that, whatever the aid agency was giving, it went to both the areas. And over
Correct.
there, again, what was coming from aid agencies, how it should be distributed. This is, the people who are getting those benefits was done in a very transparent way. So 20 lakh rupees coming. What to do with those 20 lakh rupees? What was bought? How was it distributed? The communities knew, the leadership in the communities knew. So, it was a transparent process and it built up a lot of trust.
Wonderful. That's almost a masterclass in building trust among any two groups of people, because social psychology, I think for the longest time has said when people start to live and work with each other, a lot of the differences disappear because
Yes.
then we see how we are very similar with each other. So great.
Yes.
Thank
Yes.
you. Also, when we look at the history of Saath and the work that you have done, we can see that there is that you moved from providing services at some point to also creating institutional and market capabilities. So, for example, you have federated 2,000 Patola and Tangalia weavers under Suvas. So what has led to that change in approach?
First of all, basically I feel that giving for free is insulting. Yeah. Because what happens is, or counterproductive.
Correct.
What happens is, when you provide whatever free services, products, people who receive them, the general thing is that they don't value them.
Of course.
I agree with that. But there is a deeper harm that it does. It is that, people who take for free, their self-esteem goes down.
Yes, absolutely. I totally agree with you.
So they start feeling that, we are such a kind of people who cannot manage for ourselves, so we have to take for free. So I think for a large majority, that is damaging to their psyche.
Yes.
So that is why we said that whatever Saath does right from the beginning, people will have to pay for it. It may not be the full payment, but it could be part payment, but they pay for it. Now, when they pay for it, they can ask questions.
Yes.
And when they ask questions, they are empowered.
Right.
And then we have to respond.
Yes.
So that is, the basic way how I have seen things. Yeah. Now, coming to markets, I'll start from a different trajectory. So as to say, I won't talk about the artisans now, but to give you a background, is that, in the early days of Saath, I think it was 1995. We started working in Gupta Nagar, and then there was a dire need over there of basic services, water, drainage, toilets. We talked with the community. We found that some of them had already brought in such services, a toilet or a water line. It may not have been purely legal, but they had paid for it. So that brought about an insight that, look, people are willing to pay.
Right.
Yeah. So then we devised, the slum networking program. Yeah. In that, it was, we worked with an engineer, Mr. Himanshu Parikh. And we sort of said that in this 1,200 households slum, to provide water, drainage, toilet, paved roads and street lights, it would cost 6,000 rupees per household.
Okay.
Yeah. So we went to the municipal corporation. Luckily, we had a commissioner who understood things, Mr. Keshav Verma. He said, give me a proposal. We went to the community. They said, 6,000 rupees we would pay, but you arrange for a loan or something. But we want an assurance that we will not be evicted.
Correct.
The municipal corporation gave that assurance. And then, ultimately residents had to pay 2,000 rupees only because the municipal corporation dovetailed some of their welfare schemes into these programs, water supply, drainage, etc., etc. And, people paid. Then really the whole area, the whole Gupta Nagar was transformed. If I take you there today, it won't look like a slum at all.
I see.
That is where I started understanding that, informal sector, people living in these areas are a market. In Gupta Nagar, they were a market for drainage, they were in the market for water supply, etc., etc. And they were willing to pay. Yeah.
Sure.
And again, in implementing this, there was a partnership between Ahmedabad Municipal Corporation, the community, Saath, and in the first project, even Arvind Mills was involved.
Correct.
So it became very clear that the municipal corporation would never have done so much work if the residents were not paying.
Absolutely.
So the next step, which reinforces the fact that they are a market, electricity was missing because that was provided by Torrent Power. We went to Torrent Power and said, why didn't you give electricity? They said that these people steal. We said, yes, they steal because they don't get legal. You can't live without electricity, so they'll look for alternate sources.
Correct.
At that time, USAID had a slum electrification scheme going on. We partnered with them and we convinced Torrent Power that you provide the stumbling block was to get a connection. It cost 10,000 rupees in 2003.
Wow.
Put off people, they couldn't pay that. So we convinced Torrent Power that you charge only 2,000 rupees. For these 1,200 households, let us see if they pay the 2,000 rupees and then if the monthly bill will be affordable. Both these aspects, it was a huge success. And on top of that, the residents got an electricity bill. Which, is so important in having your identity.
Correct. Correct.
So then Torrent Power, said that, this is good, but this was a very small pilot. You do a larger pilot. So we said, you tell us which area. So they selected Johapura, where, if you remember, I told you that we had worked during the riots and we were working there.
Sure.
Now, Torrent Power, there was a cartel in Johapura, in Sanklit Nagar, which was providing, illegal electricity. And Torrent Power people found it difficult to break this cartel. Now, we went over there and we talked with those cartel people. They were normal people. They were making a living. Yeah, I like to call them entrepreneurs.
Correct.
There was a need, they addressed it. We talked with them and they were, so intelligent. They could foresee that if legal electricity comes in, then the cable business will thrive. Isn't it?
Correct.
Every house has a TV, they will need So they immediately said, yes, please bring legal electricity here. We will support you in all ways. Torrent people were shocked. We said we ensure that nothing will go wrong and so Johapura got electrified. After that, the Torrent Power, understood. So they said that across Ahmedabad, such communities, connection cost will be only 2,000 rupees, not 10,000.
Okay.
Payable in 3 installments. Because of that, 85% of households got electrified. Torrent Power's revenues shot up by 30%.
Yes.
And C.K. Prahlad had written that book, Fortune at the Base of the Pyramid.
Yes.
Now, we didn't see a fortune, but his approach was larger volumes, lower prices. So over here, it was a very good example that there were a lot of people who could pay a smaller amount. The market was huge. So again, I'm reinforcing the point that, whatever 500,000, 5 lakh households would not have got electricity if we had not proved that they are a market. The moment we proved that they are a market, all that started coming in.
Absolutely.
Now, if going back to Tangalia and the artisans, we realized the same thing, that the artisans were doing wonderful job. I'll talk about Tangalia. It's a very beautiful art, but because they were making products which were not sellable, which were not required, that art was dying.
Right.
So our intervention was in convincing those artisans that you make products the market wants.
Correct.
Then our inputs were design inputs, there were inputs for getting raw material, financial support, etc., exposing them to what is the market in the city wants. They started changing their products, making new products. And when they realized there was a market for them, then they went more and more people who had stopped being artisans started becoming artisans. So yes, that is how I really believe that, we can't wish away the market.
Of course, no doubt.
It is there. We have to find a way of how it will work for such communities.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Also, now coming to the organization. So you said there are 300 plus people who work in the organization.
Yes.
Can you tell us where do you find these people for your organization? How do you keep them motivated? And also, is attrition high in an organization like yours?
Sure. Right from the beginning, even before starting Saath, I had worked with another NGO, with Father Erviti. And when working with communities, I found there is a lot of talent in the communities. They may not have the education qualifications, but they have the skills. My mother never went to school and she managed a family of 8 people so well.
Correct.
Yeah. So anyway, it was, right from the beginning that a majority of people working with Saath should come from the communities. Number one is that, since they are from the community, they feel the need much more.
Correct.
The need for a toilet, the need for, water, they feel it much more. So their skin is deeper in the game.
Yes, of course.
Isn't it? Number two, they are enthusiastic. They would like to be involved in something which brings about change.
Correct.
So we decided that when it comes to field level activities, the staff will be from the communities.
Right.
Then comes the expert staff, which will always be from other segment, let me put it. Now, again, there are people there whose heart is in the right place. And I think somehow it happens that two things meet and they come to Saath. Or we may put out an advertisement that we want people, they would apply.
Correct.
So we get people whose heart is in the right place or almost in the right place. And, there could be social workers, there could be doctors, there could be engineers, those planners, those qualifications, and they also come in. Yeah. Now the challenge is that how do the two categories work together? Yeah.
True.
Because, the non-community category would feel that because they are educated, they know more.
Yes.
And the community category, because they don't have the qualifications or they don't have that articulation, they may dress up in different ways, etc., in a sense, feel slightly inferior. Yeah. So how can you make the two meet?
Correct.
I think we have found a good way. Because number one, the type of people whom we recruit, through the interviews, etc., we try to ensure that, they have a mindset which has empathy and compassion in it. Yeah. And then, when they start working, with the community, they have to visit the slums, stalls, etc. And then they realize that, they are much better off.
Right.
They are much better off. And then also, they start empathizing more with the communities that they work with. And then they realize that really the work that is required to be done in the community, health worker, a teacher, that is difficult work. You have to go house to house, meet people. Some of them may answer you, some of them may be a bit hostile, etc. That is very difficult work, which they will never be able to. Yeah. So then, that understanding comes about from the community people that there are certain kinds of things which we cannot do, which the non-community category is bringing in. And the non-category middle class community category realizes that they will never be able to do the work which those two does.
Correct.
So then, you realize that you have to work together.
Right.
On top of that, we created a platform within Saath. It is known as the Strategic Management Group.
Okay.
It has 12 members. 6 from the community, 6 who are non-community.
Right. Very
and
good.
that is the forum where all major decisions are taken.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So then, it becomes transparent. Yeah. It becomes inclusive. And people can see that, the values of Saath are met. Whatever Saath stands for is practiced across Saath, but in this strategic management group where the questions will be related to that. Say we want to start a vocational training program. So the non-community group will say it is so good, this technology will come in, etc., etc. The non-community people will say that yes, it sounds good. Maybe our community will not be able to manage that and not be ready for that. Or if you want to make them ready for that, you have to change your proposal accordingly.
Right.
Yeah, your approach accordingly. So it is negotiated over there, restructured over there, and then it is, the program takes off, it be implemented, and then you will see that the outcomes are much better. Because from the design stage, the appropriate advice, the appropriate inputs, discussions took place. Now, retaining people.
Yeah.
From the community, we have found that retention is not an issue at all.
Sure.
Of course, there is sometimes a problem which has to do with ethics. Non-ethical behavior happens with anybody. Even a person from the community, they are asked to leave.
Right. Okay.
It's not a big problem over there. Now, when it comes to the middle class non-community category, we have to live with what are the societal norms. People may look for better jobs, they may look for better incomes. Women get married and then they would have to move to some other place. So that kind of churning has happened continuously.
Right.
I would say that we have only 2 or 3 people who have remained for us for more than 10 years.
Acha.
But that is a fact of life.
Right.
Again, these systems that we create ensures that the knowledge repository is created in such a way that if somebody else comes in, they have access to that. So for a new person coming in, say for a health program, that person will realize that, okay, this is the data that we have available, what kind of diseases are prevalent, who are our partners, where are the public health, what do they call them, centers. Health centers, where they are located, who is there. So, for a new person to get connected, to get plugged into the Saath system is not too difficult.
Right.
So, yes, that is how we have managed human resources.
That's great. So, again, interdependence, building equality are some of the principles that you've used.
Yes.
With that. Wonderful.
Yeah.
All right. Also, for an organization like yours, you definitely have had to work with a large number of funding organizations like the Oxfam, ActionAid, UNICEF, USAID, IKEA, all of them, right? And a range of CSR partners. And very often there are 2 things that we have noticed that happen as a result of this. One, sometimes they will push you to take a program that you may not have actually originally thought of. And the second is sometimes just the managing of their expectations and their needs can waylay from purpose. So how has your experience been, and also how have you managed that?
I wish I could say that any funder who comes in and Saath doesn't wants to work with Saath, which Saath may not want, I wish I could tell them that we don't need you.
Not possible.
Real world, not possible.
Not possible. Yeah.
So luckily at Saath, our integrated development program is a large plate with many food items, if I may compare. It's a thali. So organizations which want to work in any of these sectors would find something that they can do with Saath.
Okay.
Number two is, in the development context, it is seen in two ways. The first one is that are you providing services? Is the project providing services?
Correct.
And the second thing is that project also addressing developmental needs? Women become empowered, youth become more aware. We are able to cater to both.
Right.
The way we are constructed. To give you an example, we have a CSR funder who wanted to look at health. And we told them that really the need in the area is unmet surgical needs. People who have to get surgery but for various reasons do not get.
Able to.
Yeah. So it was not within their portfolio. Within their portfolio is, whether you can increase access to public health systems, etc. They make people more aware. But we said that, look, this is also a health need. So then, they said, yes, this would work for us. And but they said that, look, our monitoring, etc., will be very strong. And you have to prove what kind of impact have you made. So we have those systems in place. So, for doing this, we ensured that people got the health insurance, Ayushman cards, etc. And then it was monitored well. So we could, monetize the value. So for example, but really that 160 people got various surgeries done, which would amount to maybe 60 lakh rupees. Yeah. The donor was giving us about 18 lakh rupees.
Okay.
With those 18 lakh rupees, we demonstrated with very good evidence that, look, 60 lakh rupees worth of work has been done. And transparent systems.
Sure.
So we have found that with those kind of systems, when donors come, they see those things, they go away feeling that, over here, impactful work is being done.
Correct.
Number two is the systems that we have placed in, our accounting system, financial system, MIS, etc. is such that, people feel confident.
Right.
That here is an organization, where whatever good work is being done. The third thing is the board. We have a board. I report to the board. The board meets regularly. There is a finance committee which meets regularly. Minutes are kept. External auditor, internal auditor. And again, an open system. So if a new funder comes in, we are able to demonstrate all this. And the existing funders can, when they do their audits, they can see all these things in place.
Yeah. So again, very, very good governance, tight governance is also very important to make sure that there's trust. You also have a business gym, we read somewhere. Yeah. What is that?
So, yes, a little bit of background is, at least with the communities that we work in, for them getting in formal jobs is going to become more and more difficult.
Yes.
So they opt for entrepreneurship.
Correct.
When I say opt for, it's really compulsory.
Yes.
It's not a choice. So they, somebody will start a small food stall or a vegetable stall or, a stall, repair shop, automobile. Now they have taken the risk of setting it up.
Yes.
But they don't have the skills.
Correct.
Now, after COVID, these entrepreneurs, we call them nano entrepreneurs, were really affected.
Yes.
So then we systematically tried to study, and what we came out, the conclusions that we reached is, number one, they don't have the skills. Number two, they don't have the documentation. This permission, that permission.
Yes.
And they don't have a network. So then we designed the business gym program, which will enable all three. And we called it gym because you don't go to a gym for general fitness, no?
No.
You go for strengthening your arm or whatever. Now this came especially when it came to do with skills, because to run a successful business, all these skills that IIM have to be there, no?
Yes, yes.
Marketing, sales, inventory, financials,
Yes.
work, all those skills are required. Now, these entrepreneurs may have 3 or 4 of these skills. Let us say that the total skills that they require are 10 skill sets. They may have 3, somebody may have 4, but again, everybody does not have the same kind of skills.
Correct.
So in Business Gym, what we do, it's a mentorship-based program. We go to each entrepreneur, nano-entrepreneur. We do a diagnostic that what are the skills there which are missing. We provide input so that the missing skills can, they are able to learn, and then their business starts getting better.
Correct.
Again with documents, in India, you need a plethora of documents.
Yes.
So assisting in getting those documents, and more important, with those documents, they are able to plug into various government schemes.
Correct.
And the third one is networking. So for that, we have built a cooperative platform.
Right.
Where they are aggregated, and because they are aggregated, they are able to engage with civil society, with government, with private sector in a much better way.
Right.
And for that, we have also, because we started with brick and mortar approach, but the challenge is so high that we realize that we need a technology for this.
I see.
So now we have developed a digital platform, and that is scaling up the whole program.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Okay, great. Thank you. So just now to you as a leader, you wrote a book very recently called Smart Cities, Breaking the Poverty Barrier. What is the central argument that you make in there? And, what would you like urban planners and policymakers to take about building genuinely inclusive cities?
Sure. Now, during this book I had written 5 years ago, and during that time, there was a lot of talk about smart cities.
Yes.
Now, smart cities, they were talking about how technology can make cities smart.
Yes.
So, using that point, I put forward this counter argument that cities will be smart when they are inclusive. Cities will be smart when all the residents in the city are able to get the basic services, etc., etc.
Absolutely.
Because people who make our cities, and I'm talking from a ground up level way, people who make these cities are really from the informal sector, your construction workers,
Sure.
all those. Somebody else may be providing the finance, the design of the building, but who is building that?
Yeah, surely.
Then when our cities have to be maintained, who maintains that?
Correct.
Again, people from the informal sector.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But at the end of the day, they end up living in low-income settlements.
Correct. Correct.
What this book is trying to say, and okay, not all, I don't want to be unfair at all, but generally the approach is techno-managerial. A planner will think that with this techno-managerial approach, I'll be able to solve it.
Right.
An executive staff in the municipal corporation will again take the same approach.
Right.
What this book is trying to say is that, look, if the community is involved in designing an approach which will enhance their life, it works much better. And I've given, I think, 15 examples in that book.
Correct.
And again, there has to be partnership. Because the municipal corporation alone cannot do this. The communities alone. So the element of partnership has to be there. That is what I describe in the book. And the main argument is that if everybody thrives, the city will thrive better.
Absolutely.
If only one segment in the city thrives, it's never going to, do well.
Correct.
So those are the tenets that I am putting forward in the book.
Wonderful. Wonderful. How did your early years in Tanzania, in a family shaped by East African social values, shaped you and also shape the work that you have done?
Well, again, there was no design over there. All us 6 siblings were born there. We went to schools. Now, when we went to school, so this was for me, it was the period between 1960, 66 and 77.
Okay.
I did my primary and secondary schools. We went to those schools. And, for some reasons, we went to government schools. Yeah. And in those, to get into those government schools, you had to pass some exams, etc., etc. Then only you would get admitted there.
I see. Okay.
Yeah. Now, okay, the general Indian milieu is that they don't mix with the local people.
Yes.
Yeah. Now, I was going to a school where in a class of 30, there were probably 2 or 3 non-black people like me. So you are constantly interacting with them and you realize that, look, there's nothing different about us except the color of our skin. Number one. Number two is that really Tanzania was the epicenter of the African liberation movements.
Right.
So, and we were in a sense brainwashed in school about these movements. But I think it was good brainwashing because it was saying there needs to be equity, that exploitation should not be there, etc., etc. So, I was brainwashed along those lines. And so they became heroes for us, people whom you mentioned, Mandela, Nyerere.
Yeah.
But I was too young to place that, in a, let us say, in a theoretical framework.
Sure.
Then, as I grew older, I came to India, I saw things, and I've always been an avid reader. I started to get into those things, realizing the caste system, the role that it plays, how it divides, the class system, how it divides, with our grounding foundation of socialism, with which I was brainwashed. Yeah. So then I could put the two together. That in India, okay, it is the caste system, there is a communal system, etc., etc., and how people identify with it so much that it doesn't really lead to progress. So then for me, it was that how do I design an organization and the work that we do along socialist principles.
Correct.
But with the market being there.
Market being there, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I would say that, yes, that is how I have evolved.
Very
if
nice.
I say that I did it by design or anything, I would be dishonest. But I evolved, fortunately, along those lines.
Wonderful. Wonderful. One thing that I found very fascinating when we were looking at your work is this creation of a Mehnat Manzil Museum. Do you want to say a little bit about that?
Yes, certainly. This happened before COVID, but, we were going to celebrate 30 years of Saath.
Okay.
This was 2019. So what should we do? Should we have a big event? Should we, those were the options that we had. Somehow we had to celebrate that.
Yes.
Then, there's another museum in Ahmedabad called Conflictorium.
Yes.
So I know those people, friends and, a respectful relationship.
Wonderful.
So then we started talking and suddenly this idea came up that why don't we create a museum for the informal sector? Museum where the informal sector is celebrated.
Wonderful.
Where their contributions to making a city, in this case Ahmedabad, how have they contributed? But at the same time, how do they live? What are the challenges that they feel? It is all encapsulated in the museum in a way which is celebratory.
Very nice. Yeah.
It is not at all, that these are poor people,
No.
who want help, but in a celebratory manner. So there are 2 types of visitors there. One is from the informal sector. When they visit, they go away with a sense of pride.
Right.
And the second category, people like you and me, go there and they are sensitized.
Correct.
They will not look at their housemaid in the way they were looking at earlier.
Wonderful. Yeah. So you change perspectives. Lovely. In retrospect, Rajendra ji, what would you do differently? What would you not repeat?
That is a difficult question. I think that if there is reincarnation and in my next lifetime, I say I would like to do something similar. But,
Right?
overall, I would say that, we should have, from the Saath perspective, we got into a board-driven organization, governance, etc. in 2002. Saath started in 1989. So I wish I'd put those systems in place earlier, proper governance systems, etc. That is number one.
Right.
Number two is, I am a person, I'm not a very sociable person. Now, that means that, I have met so many people, very good people, but long-term relationships have been with few of them. I am not good at building relationships.
Well, you are very good at building community level relationships.
Exactly. But somehow that, building relationships with our funders, whatever,
Right.
I wish I could have built those relationships better.
Right.
Which would have put engagement of Saath with other stakeholders at a much different level.
Okay, that's interesting. That's interesting. So, in a way, it's also a reminder to people who want to set up such organizations or work such that these relationships are very, very important as well.
Exactly. And again, I think a little bit was ideological baggage that I carried.
Right, I can see.
I will not relate with such a person because he or she is of a different class, etc. Preconceived things, which over the years I've got over, but those were maybe some of the things which played a role.
Thank you for such a reflective response. My last question is always, hopefully that there are some young people listening to it or people who are listening to this podcast and have nurtured a dream or hidden a dream about working in the social sector. What would you say to them? What kind of advice would you give to them to keep in mind if they do move to this sector to work?
Yeah, I would tell them that, look, if you want a change to come across in society, I think many young people realize, that society is unfair. The way it is structured is unfair. Now, if you want to bring about a change, then organizations like Saath will provide you with the platform for bringing about change. Visible, sustainable change.
Correct.
That is number one. Number two is that you will meet so many different kinds of people over here. People from the communities. There's a wide diversity in the kind of people. So you will learn much more. Your worldview will get much broader. Because look at Saath, we deal with the community, we engage with government, we engage with the private sector, we engage with academic institutions. So, you'll be exposed to a much wider range of people, which otherwise you would not. The third thing I would say that you will be able to become a generalist. There are specialists and generalists. There is space for both. I'm emphasizing on generalist over here is that, say, for example, I'm doing the program that I'm looking at has to do with education. Now, when I go deeper into the program, I will realize that parents are not able to afford fees.
Correct.
So I will start thinking that, economically what is to be done.
Right.
Then I'll find that the parents, have not realized or, have a different way of looking at how children should be educated. So this gives the person to study psychology and to talk with the parents, hopefully bring about a change. So what I'm trying to say is that there is a wide array of learning that can happen. It's not restricted if you are a computer engineer, all your life computer engineer. If you are a banker, over here, it's a much wider spectrum.
Right.
So these are the three things I would tell them.
Thank you for the answers that you gave. Very thoughtful and also very thought-provoking for anyone who's looking at community-level changes. So thank you, and hopefully we will keep in touch. And thanks so much for your time and your effort and the work that you've done all your life. Thank you.
Thank you for your good words, Neharika. I thank you from the bottom of my heart with all sincerity that, I have provided me with this platform where I can articulate my thoughts, my understanding, because writing and talking are two different things altogether.
Yes.
So this, I think, is more effective. Maybe in the short and medium term, it is more effective. So thank you so much.
Thank you. The gratitude, I think, is on both sides. Thank you so much.